Does giving praise harm children? What do you think? Well, I've got answers for you. I'm Nicolene Peck. I'm a parenting expert, and I teach all about praise. In this video, we're going to be learning how it helps us and how it harms us. I'm going to tell you a story, and after that story, then we're going to talk about when praising can harm us or harm our children and how it helps us. I've been talking all over the world about self-government for well over 20 years now. And as I speak to audiences, people resonate with the concept of controlling yourself, of governing yourself. But one time, I remember there was a woman who had a problem with what I said. In the middle of my presentation, now I don't care if people normally leave, but she got up, gave me a dirty look, and stormed out. And I thought, wow, what did I say? I was just talking about praising. Why could a person find any offense with praising? And I thought maybe it was something else. Well, after the presentation, her husband came up to me. He felt so bad. And he said, I'm really sorry, Nicolene. I enjoyed everything you said, but my wife thinks that it's immoral to praise people. And I thought, what? How could that be? Don't most people spend their times judging other people and telling them things that they need to fix about them instead of telling them something that they did well or some effort that they put in that should be acknowledged? Surely we don't want to spend our days being negative. How could a person think that praising is immoral? Well, a short time after that, I started researching what new philosophies were out there with praising. And what I realized is that people had taken the concept of praising and they had definitely broken it down into what makes a good praise and what doesn't make a good praise. And the what doesn't make a good praise and how praise can harm got more press than what does make a good praise. In fact, I was definitely teaching people to praise in a good way all the way along, so I didn't see anything wrong with praising. But what this woman had found out in some of her studies, maybe YouTube videos or some of her online blog reading, was that some studies had shown that possibly some children were getting overwhelmed, anxious, even depressed, or had some failure to launch problems and some inability to control themselves because people had given them the wrong types of praise. Now, whether this is 100% true or whether it's still in theory form, I do understand where these people are coming from that promote the idea that potentially praise could harm. So there are certain kinds of praising that actually tell a person if they are valuable or not. That's not the type of praising we want to give. We don't want to say, you're wonderful, you're stupendous, you're better than everybody else. Those types of praisings make us think bad of others and think that the only way to be good is to be better than everybody else. And that's not true. In fact, there are a lot of ways that praising can lead someone down the track of buying into some ideas that aren't true. And that's where we run into a problem. When a child gets the type of praise like, you're a genius, wow, nobody could do that better than you can, then that child gets the feeling that maybe they have to be perfect all the time. They've especially seen this with only children. When their parents inflate them with this false type of praise, they feel like they have to be perfect. And this adds a tremendous amount of stress to them. In fact, they wonder if they'll ever be good enough because they know the truth, that they're a work in progress. We all are. But for some reason, the people who love them and who are around them don't acknowledge that they are a work in progress. They only tell them how perfect and genius-like they are. This can definitely be detrimental for the psyche of a child. Some children who get praised in wrong ways can develop perfectionism. They feel like they have to be perfect in everything. When a person is perfectionistic, they can't handle mistakes. This will then stop them from learning and progressing in useful and productive ways. A person needs to know that they're not going to be perfect every time. In fact, this is what real praise is for, to show you that you made some good steps in a right direction. You made good choices, you put in a good effort. That's the right kind of praising. One other thing that praising can do that's harmful is it can cause a child to hide any mistakes that they've made. So not only could they not be able to handle a mistake, but they might not ever even divulge a mistake, which puts them in a position of hiding from their parents and not talking about things in an honest and open way. It can damage relationships and produce honesty issues. Praise is harmful when it's subjective, or somebody gets to decide your worth, when it labels you as something so that you feel stuck, or when it's full of lies, because children know when they really aren't the best at something. Is this interesting to you? If you're liking this, give us a thumbs up. And if you want more videos like this, subscribe, because I've got new videos that come out like this every single day. Now let's talk about how we can use praise in a helpful way, or how it can be good for us. If praise is done right, then it describes something that happened. It describes exactly what a person did so that they could duplicate it again in the future. It is not subjective. It's hopeful, and it's completely honest. Good praising teaches cause and effect. For a person to learn how to problem solve, they've got to learn cause and effect. When you do something good, there is a good result. When you do something bad, there might be a negative result. So, praise shows you when you did something good, or when you made a step in a productive, good direction. This improves a person's chances of learning self-government. Good praising acknowledges effort. Just like I mentioned before, we can tell somebody that we see that they put a lot of work in on something. They don't have to be perfect at it, but did they do something good? Did they do something positive? Then we should show them that we noticed that they put that effort in, even if what they did was a failure. The other night, I watched my son play a soccer game. He got in the car and he said, "Mom, that was not a good game for me." And I said, "You know, I could tell that you weren't exactly on in the game tonight, but I did see some times where you got that pass right to the person. In fact, I felt like you placed it perfectly at their feet, and it made the play that much better." I was able to point out to him exactly what he did do that was a good thing, even though I did acknowledge, yeah, that wasn't a perfect game for you. Praise is the language of love and appreciation. In fact, when you praise another person in front of a group of people, there is almost nothing more loving that you could do. People feel so bonded and connected to a person who tells other people what they did. So obviously, we want to show love to our children. We want to show that we appreciate them being part of our lives. The best way to do that is to praise. I don't know a better way to show love and appreciation to another person. Praising bonds someone to you. They feel close to you, they feel like you care, and they just want to care a little bit more about you. Praising encourages good effort and good future behavior. Did you know that if you praise one child, say you have a group of children all together, one child does something and you praise them for it, a good percentage of those other children that are in the room are gonna just do that other thing too. Why? Because they want your praise. And you should give it. If you praised one child for the effort, praise all the children for the effort, even if they're copying the other child. But when someone hands out praise, when they show that they love and appreciate you, they notice your effort, then you'll put in more effort and your behaviors will improve. Another thing that praise does is it leads a person to being in control of themselves. If they're analyzing the bad as well as analyzing the good, then they're going to be able to make a plan for themselves that will lead to self-mastery. I am all about self-government. In fact, that's what this channel is all about. Self-government leads a person to freedom. If you can conquer yourself, then you can feel good about yourself, and you can feel good about the next hard thing and the steps that you're taking in a forward direction. If you have loved what we've been talking about praising, then I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy my next video, which is what does self-government mean in parenting? Click on that video now.